Guys, we got a great episode for you today. We are going to talk about censorship and what's going on in modern day times versus how that ties into the Nazi regime and some people you've never heard of, like a little man named Werner Fink. You're going to want to stick around. It's a goodie. And Yannis looks cute today.
Yeah, and you can see me in Bakersfield, California, October 3rd and 4th. You can see me in Toronto, October 18th, Tulsa, October 24th and 25th.
Yeah, and then me, I'm going to be in Boston, October 9th at the Wilbur Theater, and then Boston, October 10th at the Chevalier Theater, and then back to the Wilbur Theater in Boston, October 11th. So go get those Tiki Wikis, chrisdcomedy.com, and have a good time with this episode. Buckle up.
Patreon.com/historyhyenas for more bonus content.
Ready?
I'm born ready and I'm born not.
We are board ready because we're going to talk a little bit about the FCC, but not the FCC that you're thinking about. The FCC we've coined is the That's who we're going to talk about is because I bleed red, white, and blue. I love America and I love the Mets.
Now, do you love America just because you're from here? Would you love America just the same if you were born in Germany?
No, then I would love Germany like another man we're going to talk about today, Joseph Goebbels.
Yeah, because you know it's
who I think had a good side and I want to explore it.
Lad 14.
Obviously, JK.
You're saying...
And I mean JK, just kidding, not Jimmy Kimmel.
No. He had a good side in that, like, he had daughters and he probably smiled at them a few times.
He did. He had daughters and he had a full family of 7 and he used to cheat on his wife. Think.
Look, when you're in the Nazi party, you're high level.
Yeah.
Back then, that was a star because this is what we're going to talk about today, is they didn't really allow any other stars.
No.
If you had a nice little following, if you had a nice little vaudeville act, and the chicks went crazy about you, they said, hey, tone it down.
Yeah.
The high command is the new stars.
Yeah.
It's me, the fat guy with the star. I mean, they were a crew.
They were a crew.
They were like the
Rat Pack.
They were like the Rat Pack.
They were the Rat Pack. You had Adolf Hitler, Joseph Goebbels, the head of the Luftwaffe, Goering, and then you had Hans Himmler, the head of the SS, who was what was it?
No, Himmler.
Heinrich.
No,
Himmler.
Heinrich. No,
Heinrich Himmler.
Himmler was the general, I think.
Himmler. No,
it was Goring.
No, who was the one who was the head of the SS with the glasses?
Oh, who was that guy? Oh, that guy was a Frank.
That was Himmler.
Yeah, that kid looked Franks.
That kid was Franks and Beads because you looked a little bit like Himmler. Nazi high command. Yeah, and then Jesse spelled it COMAND.
Here's the funny thing, too, is I look like Himmler, right? Because I'm like genetically deficient in the face. My eyes are too close together. It looks like gravity's pulling them in. And you look like the guy they were fighting on behalf of. But nobody in that Brat Pack.
No.
But let's be honest. They were a Brat Pack. They had a lot of complaints.
Yeah, they really did.
Like the Rat Pack.
Yeah.
Were like, oh my God, the Jews are everywhere. People. They had so much complaints. And the irony is they were acting like Jews. They were blaming other people.
Acting like And by the way, in German, it's called the Oberkommando der Luftwaffe.
And here's the funny thing, is none of them looked like they all looked Franks.
They all looked Franks and Beans, and we're going to talk.
The only thing that made them look cute was the fucking unis.
The unis was cute. That's what we said.
Lets you know fashion is powerful.
Fashion's power. And then, so we're going to talk about, because obviously, you know what happened last week with Jimmy Kimmel getting censored by the FCC, and the head of that name, his name is Brendan Carr, and it sounds like a roast beef restaurant in Brooklyn, Brendan and Carr's. That's who I thought, because at first I saw the news, I said, this guy got canned by Brendan and Carr's. They got really good roast beef sandwiches and good fountain soda. Why? Just stick to roast beefs. But this kid, Brendan Carr, who also looks Franks.
He looks Frank.
Yeah. So he rips, I know a lot of people talked about this last week, so we're not going to get into it all, even though this week there will be announcements on if Jimmy gets reinstated or not, so I'm sure that it'll be in the news still. But we really want to just talk about censorship in the past, because you know we are the history hyenas, and make no mistake, the Nazis censored people big. And the thing that we'll find out that we're going to talk to you about, what's scary and what feels like, you know, kind of contemporary now with what's going on, is the Nazis would say to the people, you're free here. You could say whatever you want. You just can't talk bad about your government. And it feels a little bit, this is what happened last week, where they're saying, no, you're free. You could say whatever you want, but you weren't free.
Yeah. I mean, I think what makes our situation a little unique is that I don't think what happened this last week or whenever you're listening to this happened in a vacuum.
Right.
Right? And I mean a comedy vacuum.
Yeah.
The Nazis rose to power. That wasn't in a vacuum either, but that was a different thing.
Right.
I'm talking a comedy vacuum.
Because you got your chain out.
I got my chain fucking out
I'm
today.
going to put my chain out.
I was like, yeah, take it out. I went to Kay's Jeweler and I got it repaired.
Yeah, it's just what it is, cuz.
This is a cheap chain.
Because what happened is you used to make fun of me during the first Reich of Fish Hyenas and make fun of me that I'm a chain out guy, and then we broke up, and then you missed me, so you started putting your chain out.
Because I had to become you a little bit and talk to myself.
That's what
I'd look in the mirror and be like, do you look like a cute kid today?
Yeah. So that's what happened is you started putting your chain out.
Yeah.
But you got your chain out, and it's a nice chain, but Paul Verzi wouldn't approve. He would say it's too skinny of a rope.
Yeah. And you missed me a little bit. What you did is you got fat quick.
Yeah, I got fat quick, and
that's what I do. I'm 217. I got to stop.
I got fat quick, and I started hanging out with a trans person. That's what I did, because I said, I'm just going to become Yannis and Maurice at the same time. I'm going to be a fat trans.
Yeah. So what I think is that...
Tell me, Codge.
I think this is a reaction.
Yeah.
This feels like an equal but opposite reaction. I mean, everyone likes to forget that it was just like 5-7 years ago.
Right. Well, I think you're...
Way Song Shien.
Ladder 14.
Sorry about that, Nick.
What I love about that one is you really got to know that the Greeks, you really got to know that that's the best name for Greek.
Yeah, it's just what they are.
The Greeks everything is about the sea.
Yeah.
I mean, we take the octopus from the sea. We're just seafaring people.
You're just seafaring.
And then we just became shippers.
It's just what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We also have a little bit of a swarthy look.
We'll have a little bit of a swarthy look, and it's just what it is. It's what you...
Way Song Shien.
It also sounds like it would be a great restaurant.
It would be.
Yeah. Are you going to...
Yeah. Yeah, it's what it is.
The octopus is outrageous.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. So it was just a couple years ago that they were doing this a little bit to other people on the other side of the aisle.
Right.
Right.
It's kind of like everybody's eating their own words.
Right.
Type thing. Yeah.
Nobody was yelling about freedom of speech for Roseanne.
No.
I mean, you could have easily get, hey, look, she's a mentally unstable older woman.
Right.
You know.
Right.
She went on Twitter and she said something racist.
It's like, yeah.
Yeah. Her fans don't mind.
No. They loved it.
They loved it.
They retweeted it.
Every place was banning the president of the United States on social media.
Right.
And it was, there were people in the government making, outward. They were outwardly saying, like, this has to be stopped. This has to be censored.
Yeah.
Of course, the laptop story, although I made fun of it on my show, it's like laptop. For a while, it was just like laptop. Like, it was like, fucking, it was the worst thing in the world. But yeah, they did suppress that and a couple other stories. There has been this sort of, there used to be this call to cancel like everyone.
Right.
I remember there was that little kid running around going like, everyone's a Nazi. They were at the stand.
Yeah.
These guys were at the stand, and Gavin McGuinness went to the bathroom in the stand, and somebody else was in the same room.
Yeah, and that got old for the population. They said we're not going to do that anymore.
We were in that zeitgeist for a little while, and then now it's for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction.
Always.
That's how extremes work.
Yeah.
So now the shoe's on the other foot. And Jimmy Kimmel's Jesus Christ, and he has to be saved.
Yeah, it's just what
we have to save.
Yeah, and you have to save because we have a show in development. So better save Jimmy.
I think that's the greatest thing that happened to Jimmy. I mean, now he is like everyone's fucking going to his back.
I'm sure you don't want to go through something like this, of course, but I mean,
do you not though?
Most people have his back.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like everyone's talking about him. This is great right now. It's like he's become the counterculture icon.
Right.
Where he's become the $16 million a year counterculture icon.
Right.
Where he's like, look, we can't let this guy have his livelihood taken from him.
Yeah.
This is unfair. This is government intervention.
Yeah, intervention. And Brendan Carr. See, because the thing is, too, I didn't learn I didn't know much about. I mean, I knew about the FCC, heard of it, but I never thought about it. Like, oh, these networks have a license: ABC, NBC, CBS, broadcasting license. So in a way, you know, and we'll talk about how this ties into the Nazi Germany. But in a way, this is American propaganda networks. Like these are the broadcasting, the government-owned networks.
Yeah.
The FCC kind of owns them. They don't own Netflix or Comedy Central or History Hyenas YouTube.
Well, what they do is they, it's a regulatory body to make sure that monopolies don't happen. They break things up. Hey, you can't say this, you can't say that. You know, children are watching. That's kind of what.
But the president appoints the head of the FCC. Will always be leaning which way the president is.
Pretty much.
Always, yeah.
Well, kind of, yes, pretty much. But you know what? Nobody's talking about somebody else who's being censored right now by the Middle East FCC.
Oh,
okay.
Who?
Why is there no controversy? Why are we not? Tim Dillon is
right.
That is essentially the Middle East FCC, and they are really clamping down on his free speech.
Yes,
So why is nobody upset about that?
Good.
You know,
point.
It's like we cherry pick what we're upset with.
And in protest of that, I'm not going. I'm not going now.
Comedy does threaten people in power because people in power depend on narratives. They depend on narratives. So this problem's always been around. And a great example of that is, for some reason, one of the most entertaining parts of history is World War II. Yes. I mean, when you talk about ratings in history, I mean, the History Channel lived off of fucking Nazis.
Oh, my God.
Well, I don't know why they're so cool, but I think it really had to do a lot with the boss uniform.
It's just what it is. Yeah. And it's like, that is a good point. Like, anytime Netflix or any of these companies don't have content, you just go back and you just find another colorized video and you just make a whole 19 episodes about the same battle we've seen 100 times, but now it's just a little bit more color.
Yeah, exactly.
So the next episode, the next series should be a little bit more World War II in color.
Yeah, I mean, World War II and the Nazis is basically like the Fast and Furious franchise.
It's what it is.
We just keep making the hits.
Yeah.
And just keep turning
just like in the Fast and the Furious, just like in World War II, the Asians lose.
Wei Song Xian.
Yeah, the Eastern Hemi's going to lose big.
It was kind of nice that we brought the samurais to their knees. They were like, we got the sword, and we did the Indiana Jones, as we said, we got the gun.
Yeah.
You guys haven't invented a microwave yet.
So,
Wei Song Xian.
Because I found a cute little article. Let me I'll pull it up here. But I found a cute little article from the 1930s that I sent to you, because you know me, that's what I like to do on a slow Sunday.
Yeah.
Is I like to go back and I like to read the New York Times from 1938 to 1942.
Now let me ask you: is the article as cute as the cappuccino with oat milk?
It's no. Oh, yeah, I was in the deli today getting some food for the
That's
for the
not
boys.
a deli. That moment right there shows you that you can take the kid out of Queens, but you cannot take the Queens out of the fucking kid.
Yeah.
All right. This fucking trash monkey from Queens just called that fancy fucking spot in Manhattan a deli.
Yeah, that has
now you've been in there. Is that a deli?
No, it is not.
That's a street.
Yeah.
Wei Song Xian.
That's it. I know they serve avocado toast with goat cheese.
No, this is
so
not a
that's
deli.
not what the bodega, the delis do. Does a deli in Queens? Does any deli in Queens do avocado toast with goat cheese?
They just don't.
Yeah.
You can't. No. You see the clientele walking in there. They don't go. Nobody woke up in their $4,000 a month rent apartment in this area and went, let's go downstairs to the deli.
No, they did not say that.
No, they didn't.
No.
But your mom did say, Christopher, can you go down to the deli and get Eileen another pack of Newports?
Yeah, that's what.
That did happen.
That's what I.
We're products of our environment.
Yeah, and my whole family, my mother's side, came over to my house this weekend. And we had a nice time, and I got pumpkin beers, and they were a big hit. And some members of my family got real drunk, got real nice and toasty with pumpkin beers, and they went in the pool and they started talking a lot of shit about another side of my family, and they didn't know that my security cameras picked up their audio, and I will play it on the Patreon. So, because what I like to do is I like to go back and just read some stuff from history, because I think a lot of times we say on this podcast a lot is, people think that anything that's happening right now is like, this is the first time it's happened and we've never been here before. And almost everything that's happening in the news, we've been here before, except for AI taking our jobs and over the human race. That's the one thing that's like, whoa. But everything else with this FCC Jimmy Kimmel stuff. So in February 3rd, this is February 4th, 1939. Propaganda. This is from, because sometimes I just like to read. I do mostly read old New York Times articles, but sometimes I like to go and read some articles from the Berlin Times in the 1930s and see what they said. But they said propaganda minister Joseph Goebbels today ended the, well, this is the New York Times, but propaganda minister Joseph Goebbels today ended the professional careers of 5 Aryan actors and cabaret announcers by expelling them from the Reichs Chamber of Culture on the grounds that, quote, in their public appearances, they displayed a lack of any positive attitude toward National Socialism, Nazis, and therewith caused grave annoyance in public and especially to party comrades. So these people that they fired were German stage comedians who survived previous Chamber of Culture purges and still dared to indulge in political witticism. So that means that they were warned already, because that's the thing. Even in Germany, there were still comedians trying to push the envelope. And Werner Fink was one of them, who Yannis is going to talk about, Peter Sage, and then the 3 Rulins. So these were the 3 big people. And then the details of the crimes of which they were accused, Dr. Goebbels mentions that they made these political criticisms about the colonial problem, the 4-year plan, and Chancellor Hitler's monumental building program. And one of them even raised the question, one of the comedians in 1939 raised the question of whether there was any humor left in Germany.
Yeah.
So that's a German guy saying that in the 1930s. And of course, history would say no. There wasn't much humor left in Germany at that time. So Dr. Goebbels says that the gestures that they had, the poses, and the physical characteristics that they made fun of did not go in line with National Socialist leaders, and that they made fun of the country too much. And he said that National Socialists proved during their struggle for power that they had a keen sense of humor. So this is Goebbels, the head of the propaganda of the Nazis, saying that the Nazis proved that they do have a good sense of humor, and that they would kill, and that they had a keen sense of humor that could kill opponents with ridicule. So they were saying, we don't want to hurt anybody. We'll kill you with kindness and jokes.
Yeah, they're saying we're not funny. Let me try a joke here. One cooks well and the other not. See, we have a sense of humor. The one with the frisbee tastes better. You see, they're saying we're not funny. We're so funny.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, him. And we said, oh no, how come you're not behind bars in the zoo? You see, we're funny. They were like, what's the problem? We have a great sense of humor.
Yeah. It's what it is.
Says the Greeks want to be human. What's the problem?
So he says, but as now Goebbels said, but not National Socialism proposes to remain in power 2,000 years. It has neither the time nor the patience to apply that method to the miserable literati, so the miserable literature. And then anti-German, and then he said, if the anti-German press of Paris, London, and New York, Dr. Goebbels says, or the democratic governments in Western Europe should now again complain about the lack of freedom of opinion in Germany, it does not matter. For after all, during the last year, the Fuhrer reconquered 10 million Germans for their Reich.
Right.
So that's the thing, is what was interesting to me about reading that article was, if you're a German or anyone sitting in the 1930s, you were saying, yeah, see, there's no problems, that they're saying everything's fine, but then things were not fine.
Yeah.
So, because I always thought, the people were just kind of going along with it, and the Germans were always presenting themselves as we're Nazis, and you can't, but they weren't. They were saying, no, we have a sense of humor.
Yeah.
We're funny guys.
Yeah, we're funny.
We're funny guys.
Yeah, did you hear about the one about who was hiding the journalist's basement? And I said, was that a rattle noise downstairs? And he said, must be the boiler. And I went downstairs and I said, oh, it was the boiler. The boiler is not working. So I boiler and burned him to turn it back on. It's a good one, no?
I know my boiler won't turn on anymore because it says it's too cold.
Yeah.
It says I can't work in the cold conditions.
Whoa, this is funny.
I always get a little nervous when...
Yeah, about when you go to Saudi Arabia.
I always get a little nervous when governments get involved with comedy or entertainment, or when entertainers get involved with government, it's always like it's like cops and robbers coming together. They're not supposed to be together. And
you shouldn't know an entertainer's political candidate.
No,
I don't know. I don't care. Yeah.
And also, it's like those two shall never meet. It's like we talk about them. Comedy's all about making fun of what's in power, and you know you don't want to. It's like the old Almost Famous line. It's like, remember, they're not your friends. Remember when he's doing the article, the kid, and he's talking to Philip Seymour Hoffman, and Philip Seymour Hoffman is saying, they're not your friends. You're there to write a fucking article, tell the truth, and you know. But there's no stakes there. It's about music. But with comedy, I always get a little uncomfortable with that. And I think comedy is important, and it's a good gauge where your country is at on the totalitarian scale, because comedians comedians say inappropriate things. That's what jokes are. Yeah. Right? Jokes aren't saying the appropriate thing. Nobody gets in trouble in class for saying the right thing at the right time. You get in trouble for saying the wrong thing. It's all timing. You know, that's what sarcasm is. That's what, you know, we say a lot of jokes. We love everybody, but we're having a good time. Right. We're trying to make you laugh by saying the inappropriate thing. And when you're allowed to say the inappropriate thing, it's a good gauge on whether you're free or not. Right. So I said the inappropriate thing. I said the thing you don't like. So, and everyone's okay with that and allows it to happen. That lets you know, hey, we're still free. Once people start going, that was inappropriate, I didn't like this, then we're starting to flirt with that fascist tendency that's just in humans. Right. We just have it. We want to control other people. We don't want people to live their own lives. We want them to be just like us. There's something in us that just always creeps up once in a while where we go, we need control. Where's the people? There's the Jews. Yeah. And we just got to kick them out because we have this instinct in us of to just fucking control. Yeah.
So here's the thing with the Nazis. So they did allow some humor, okay, but only if it supported the regime. So they had comedy films and cabaret skits. I like that even ChatGPT calls them skits that ridicule Jews, communists, and foreign enemies. Carl Valentin, he was a popular comedian. He managed to survive by avoiding political material and focusing only on absurdist humor, though he was often under suspicion. So actually, just if you go back up, Joseph Goebbels, the research we did on, so Goebbels, he was in, do you know much about him? Goebbels, other than he's the propaganda minister, and a fucking squeak. Yeah, he was a squeak big.
He was a kid you could fucking toss right up into the air and fucking have him hit the ceiling and bounce down.
Well, you know what's an interesting thing about the kid is he was born in 1897 into a lower middle class Catholic family. The kid was a Catholic
Which
kid.
Is wild.
So one side of my family would have, they would have really liked him and said, the kid, he's trying his best.
Yeah.
So they're just having a pumpkin beer in the pool saying, it's nice to be up here.
Yeah. The kid, he's big on Mary. I'm big on Mary.
Yeah.
Catholics are big on Mary.
Big. They love Mary.
She's a Virgin Mary.
Yeah. And one of my aunts was calling, she was kind of going off. She was a little buzzed, but she was calling Zohran Mamdani Mamdafi. She kept saying, I'm not voting for Mamdafi. And I said, all right, don't vote for him. You won't see his name in the ballot box. She's like, I ain't fucking letting Mamdafi in. She was like, you know who all my aunts are voting for? Curtis Sliwa. They were having a conversation. They're like, I know he's, out of all of them, he's the best.
Yeah.
He's the best. Why? He protects the police.
He's not big on, they're not big on Cuomo?
They don't like Cuomo. Hold on, and we'll be right back after this. The Saudis are calling me. Because I want to ask you a question. Can I ask you something?
Ask me.
Who do you trust for your daily nutrients?
I don't eat vegetables, so I always do AG1.
Yeah, see, AG1, because I literally like them. I told you about them. I said, you're going to drink this green stuff, and you're going to feel good, and you're going to look good, and you're going to smell good. And AG1 Athletic Greens, their clinically backed formula is now flavor packed with new delicious flavors because they got tropical berry, they got citrus, and it's just awesome. Okay, because they got probiotic strains and 75 vitamins and minerals. Because I'm always talking about probiotics.
Yeah. AG1 Next Gen is helping to raise the standard with multiple gold standard clinical trials in an industry where not everyone invests heavily in research. They go to great lengths to continually invest in rigorous peer-reviewed clinical trials to make sure that their product gets you nice and juiced up.
You know what it is, too? You know what I like about AG1? Is when I put it in with
Your
my
butt?
water. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's another way to do it is
You
can
ingest it.
They've never said that you couldn't.
No.
They're not saying to do that, but they didn't say you can't do that, and it's not in the disclaimers.
No.
So if you want to put it in a syringe, like that, and you want to put it in your butt and do that, that's just up to you.
Yeah.
But I would suggest drinking it.
Right.
Because you know what I like to do? Because a lot of times I don't drink my water in the morning, but when I have in my AG1, I put it in, I mix it in with water, and then I drink it all on the way into work, and it keeps me full for longer.
That's what I like to do is because like you're supposed to wake up and hydrate. So why don't you just knock out two things at once?
Yeah.
Get your hydration and your greens.
So right now, if you go to drinkag1.com/hyenas, you're going to get a free welcome kit, including a bottle of vitamin D and 5 AG1 travel packs. That's a $76 value when you first subscribe. That's drinkag1.com/hyenas.
Let me tell you something, cuz Jesse started using Hims for his hair.
He looks good.
And you see how much more hair he has?
Yo, literally, when he came in just today, I said, yo, that kid's got more hair.
Yeah, and the thing is it's true. I mean, he started using it, and I guess it works.
No, it does work because if you look, I know Jesse, nobody, we've only ever showed you a glimpse of him, and now the internet has ran wild with memes and ChatGPT versions of him and artistry works, but the real Jesse, he definitely has noticeably more hair, and it's from Hims because no one plans for hair loss. But through Hims, you can take the next step with confidence. Access treatment made with clinically proven ingredients like finasteride and minoxidil to stop hair loss and regrow hair in 3 to 6 months. No waiting rooms, no hoops, just ingredients with a track record of results.
Yeah, and it's completely safe. So listen, guys, you don't need another hat. You just need to get yourself a personalized plan to regrow your hair. Through Hims, you can access treatments that combine clinically proven minoxidil and finasteride to stop hair loss, regrow it in just 3 to 6 months.
Honey Gorgeous, for simple online access to personalized and affordable care for hair loss, ED, weight loss, and more, visit hims.com/hyenas. That's hims.com/hyenas for your free online visit. That's hims.com/hyenas. Individual results may vary based on studies of topical and oral minoxidil and finasteride. Prescription required. See website for full details, restrictions, and important safety information. Thank you. So Goebbels, he's a Catholic kid, as I said. I didn't, like many Germans, he felt betrayed by World War I, the Treaty of Versailles, so he was always mad. And the kid was actually born with his foot. He actually was born with feet like me.
Kid had a flipper.
He had a club foot because his feet, and then his feet were going the wrong way. That's really what happened. His feet were going the wrong way, and they did a surgery to try to put his feet the right way, but his one foot just would never go the right way. So the kid had one leg longer than the other. So it stunted his growth. And then he had really bad lungs. He just had all these health issues. So he was just angry at the world, and he couldn't fight in World War I because of his club foot and his lungs. So instead, he became like, he worked like in the offices. And that's just, as a German kid, girls just don't like that. Girls are like, that's like you're basically a little bitch boy. So he's all angry.
He sounds genetically superior to me.
Yeah. Well, so what happened was too is at that time he was good. The kid was good with the gift of gab because at that time, they were basically like looking at people who couldn't really work for the Reich, and especially a man who couldn't like physically work. Like you were just a useless eater. That's what they called you. Like you were literally just taking food from the Reich and you're useless. But he was able to talk his way into a relatively higher position in the Nazi party because the kid just, he learned he could just speak. So, and when he heard Hitler speak in 1924, because he was a little skeptical, he got completely devoted. The kid was like borderline sexually obsessed with Hitler, like wanted to bang him out big. That's from the research. I was like, wow, the kid really loved him.
Because if you're obsessed with a guy,
it's just what it is.
A little gay.
He was obsessed with the guy.
I love another guy.
I love another guy.
I love another guy.
Dude,
he's not your brother? He's not your dad?
Yeah.
Then you're a gay guy.
You're just a gay guy, and it's the way, it's kind of like Goebbels' obsession with Hitler was like kind of how you feel about Ethan Hawke and how I feel about Tom Hardy.
I do feel that way about Ethan Hawke.
Yeah,
I love your work.
Because if Ethan Hawke threw on a uniform and started saying we got to push people in ovens, you would start doing it. You would say it. You would love it.
Because
how
great
you would say before midnight. You just start yelling at
sunset. I love that.
Yeah.
And that's what that's how you have to be when you're around Ethan Hawke. I can't be like, "What's up, cuz?"
Yeah.
I gotta go.
Do you think Ethan Hawke would ever call it a deli?
No, he would never call it a deli.
Because you like Ethan Hawke.
He'd go,
Hey.
I'm going down to the brasserie.
Yeah.
And I said that wrong. What do they call it in French? Brasserie.
If Ethan Hawke was ever missing, I would have to tell the police to check your basement.
Check my hot tub because I got him chained in there and I just want to sit with him in it.
I would say that he might have him chained to his slide that he got from Best in Backyards.
What I would like to do is I would like to take Ethan Hawke and just put him in the hot tub and chain him there and just talk to him.
Yeah, you like
Say,
Ethan
no, you
Hawke.
can't leave it there. Why'd you kidnap Ethan Hawke? Because I just want to be around him.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. So, yeah, he would just be doing lines for his movies, and you would just be jerking off with the Marisa wig. Okay. So the kid Goebbels was nice with his words. I mean, if he had a Twitter account, he would be nice.
He was
with
nice.
his words. Goebbels, the eventual minister of propaganda, was nice with his words. So he could speak, right? And then Hitler appointed him regional leader for Berlin, where the Nazis didn't really have a lot of support. This is 1926, so we got 15 years before the Nazis, right?
They're revving up.
They're revving
This
up.
is when the Nazis were revving up.
So Goebbels, Goebbels was able to kind of convince people who were on the fence about the Nazis to come to their side. Why he did that? He exploited modern media, posters, newspapers, radio, in ways that most rivals underestimated. So this whole idea of propaganda through the American movies as we have it today, there's always some political message in a movie nowadays, frickin' Snow White, everything's got the message. Goebbels was the first guy to do that. He was like, oh, everybody else goes after, politicians' propaganda, posters. He was like, the movies. People are watching the movies. Let me start putting some of our propaganda in the movie.
Yeah, it's called Rambo 1 through whatever, when one guy who's about 5'6" kills about 1,000 Russian communists.
Yep.
Remember that one?
Yeah.
And he's just killing all these Russians.
And you know what's crazy about that Rambo movie, because how times change. In the beginning of the original Rambo movie, I think it's 1 or 2, they're thanking Al-Qaeda. And they're saying they're protecting Al-Qaeda because they were on their side back then.
That's right. Yeah, you remember Rocky too? If I can change, we can all change. And then the communists are just like,
Yeah.
that's what you call propaganda.
It's propaganda. So what he did was, when he became the propaganda chief in 1929, he organized mass rallies, just like George Soros. He organized mass rallies. They had these big banners and torches and music and a fun event. Then on the radio, which he called the 8th grade power, he entered every home and he basically just talked about how great Hitler and the Germans were. And then he came up with slogans and symbols, Ein Volk, ein Reich, ein Führer, and he made the swastika omnipresent. So Goebbels was the one that said, let's put that swastika everywhere.
And the funny thing about the swastika was like isn't it like a Hindu symbol?
It's a Hindu
of peace?
Yes, and they were able to manipulate it for their own.
Did they just like the way it looked?
Yeah.
So they didn't do it because it was the Hindu.
No, they did it because they thought it was cute.
They just thought it was cute.
Yeah.
The kids had taste. They had taste, which is which is weird because Germans' culture is not usually that cute.
Yeah, it's just not cute.
But at that point, Hugo Boss Unis really. I mean, if you saw Goring, right? Which one was the fat one?
That was Goring. He was a fatty.
If you saw Goring just walking down the street, are you gonna say, I'm gonna do what that guy tells me to do?
No way, because he had a big fat ass and he was just weird looking.
But it tells you how important fashion is.
Oh, right, because
if he's walking in that uni,
in the uni, yes.
Who is this guy?
Yes.
If there was a fashion show for Nazis,
yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't even notice that he was a fat slob talking about superior genes when you're going like, look at you, dog.
Yeah, no, 9 times out of 10, I'm never going to follow a guy who's named Herman.
Yeah.
I'll never follow a guy named Herman into any. If your name's Herman, you suck.
I mean, look at Goring. I mean, he just looks like a better looking version of Stavi.
Yeah, Herman. So
he looks like Stavi with hair.
Yeah, I mean, he looks, but when he's younger, the kid looks cute. But so what's interesting about Goebbels, so here, because things like the way history, like there's these tipping points where you're like, it always comes from some type of like just human flaw, right? Some type of minute human thing. So Goebbels is, finally gets a wife because he starts to get some notoriety being being Hitler's propaganda chief. And this is years before World War II, right? So Goebbels has a wife. They have like 7 kids because he never got any female attention. So he's just banging the same chick all day. But then he starts to get more and more famous because he puts the propaganda stuff into the movies. So who does he meet with? All the German actresses of the day, right? The big actresses. So he starts having affairs with the actresses, right? So he's this family Catholic guy, which is what the Reich wants, right? It's all good. He then goes to Hitler and he says, I want to divorce my wife and I want to run away to Japan with one of these actresses. And then, and then Hitler says, you can't do that. And he goes, no, I want to go to Japan. and then I'm going to Japan with this one, and I'm going to leave my family behind, and the Reich can take care of them. And then Hitler says, no, you're not. You basically can't do that.
You're too important to me.
And they start to have their, again, Goebbels idolizes Hitler. They start having he starts screaming at Adolf Hitler in front of other high command Nazi people and secretaries, and he did it like in an office in the middle of Berlin, and he's getting screamed at. And they said Hitler loved Goebbels too, and so he was like, what? So he said, go with your wife for 3 months. 3 months, try to make it work with this bitch, and you're not going to Japan. And he actually took the actress that Goebbels loved, and he deported her to Prague. He said, you're out of here because you're making Goebbels go nuts. He's already fucking nuts. I need him out there telling everybody how great Nazis are. And so
it sounds like a lover spat. Like
that's what I'm saying.
Like a triad.
So Goebbels, we're going to call him Joey G.
Yeah.
So Joey G says, okay, I'm going to try to make it work with my wife. He tries for a week, and he's just vomiting all over her pussy. He can't make it work with her because he's just a gay kid and he wants Hitler's cock in his mouth big. So he says, I can't make it work. And then what happened was, because he had the screaming match with Hitler, everybody starts to say, Adolf included, because they used to go to Hitler's house for dinner all the time, all the Nazi high command parties. Goebbels is starting to get ostracized. He's starting to get extricated from the Nazis. Hitler doesn't want him around. The high commander's trying to say Goebbels is getting kind of crazy. So Joseph Goebbels is sitting there stewing, blaming it on his wife. I'm sure the wife just got a couple of 1-2s, and that's just what it was back then. I'm not for it, but it's just the reality of the situation. Is the wife got tuned up a little bit, and I'm sorry that happened, but she did get tuned up.
I mean, throughout history, women got tuned up.
Women got tuned up.
They got tuned up.
So basically, Goebbels says, I need a way back in. I need a way to get back into Hitler's good graces. I have to show him that I'm important. So what this Goebbels turned his propaganda to? Attacking the Jew. This whole idea of the Jews being the problem really came off the heels of Goebbels wanting to get back in with Hitler. And he said, I'm going to do something big. So he comes up with this idea of a movie called The Eternal Jew, which is... That was the name of it. He called this movie The Eternal Jew. Yeah. So he comes up with an idea called The Eternal Jew,
which he probably lifted from Ford, because Ford wrote the book called The International Jew.
Yeah, so this kid made The Eternal Jew, and it was relentless propaganda, and he inflamed public hatred of Jews, and he set the stage for the complicity in the Holocaust. But that movie did big numbers in Germany, and Hitler said, this kid's got something, because he came out The Eternal Jew, and they would have screenings of it, and they would watch The Eternal Jew and clap and eat popcorn in Hitler's house. And then they would rent out movie theaters, and everyone would just go watch The Eternal Jew. And then they said they would go, and this is not fun. It's not funny, of course, for the people, but they said they would go out after they saw The Eternal Jew, and they would just start beating up Jews in the street. And it's fucked up.
Yeah, it's fucked
up, but it's crazy. I'm only laughing because it's crazy.
Well, but that's what propaganda did. Like, remember the Rocky movies? Remember Eddie Murphy had that joke about the Rocky movies?
Yeah.
He said the Italian guys would watch, and they'd go out and be like, remember that? This pay for it.
Yeah.
Because the Italian kids would leave Rocky and go like, I'm gonna go fucking beat some. Yeah. So that's what propaganda does. It really tugs at your heartstrings.
It tugs at your heartstrings, and it's bad. But basically, this whole idea of Goebbels, like if Goebbels wouldn't have, some historians believe if that didn't happen to Goebbels, where he had the fling with the German actress and he didn't need to get motivated to get back in Hitler's good graces, he would have never created this type of propaganda. And maybe the Holocaust doesn't happen in the way it happens, or maybe there's another way it happens. But that you can tie it directly, because these anti-Semitic campaigns, this is when it started to rev it up. And then Hitler got so comfortable with Goebbels that he went from zero to hero. Goebbels then started speaking for Hitler in public, and Goebbels is the one. Hitler just gave him authority because Hitler started smoking so much crystal meth during the 1940s, late 1930s, 1940s, when Goebbels made The Eternal Jew. It was Goebbels was the one who declared war on Russia. Goebbels was the one in 1941 who said, we're going to war with Russia now, and then told Hitler like a day later, because he was methed out.
So what you're proposing here, this is a great episode where you can find out why the Holocaust happened. It happened because of a woman.
Yeah, because of a woman.
This is a great way to blame the Holocaust on a woman.
A woman, yeah. And then the name of this episode is Joey G's Holocaust.
Joey G's Holocaust. So you're basically saying he was just trying to impress Hitler?
Yes, because
he was like, look how much I hate the Jews. He's like, I don't believe you do.
Yeah.
And he's like, look, it's this movie.
Yeah.
Oh, they are beating up Jews. He goes, I don't know.
Because wherever you look, the Nazis, the two biggest leaders, and we've spoken about this before in the podcast, are both gay. They're both motivated by gay. You had Goebbels, who said, I love Hitler so much, so I'm just going to get gay and make the eternal Jew for him. It's for him because I just want to be back in his good graces. And then Hitler saw the American soldier in World War I, when he was in the fog of war, blonde hair, blue-eyed, beautiful American soldier, and said, that's the Ubermensch. That's who I want all Germans to look like, even though I don't look like that, and I have a micro penis, and I'm probably half Jewish.
Right.
So it was both gay motivated on both sides. So the Nazis...
I mean, you know, Nietzsche was big at that time. He came up with the Ubermensch. They took that, they perverted it. Do you think Hitler in that meeting and all the other high command were going like, what's up with this guy? Bros before hoes. Like,
yes.
What's up with him? He's, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have been a nice episode of Guy Code.
Yeah.
1933 Germany.
Yeah.
Like, what, you know, it's this guy, he wants to go to Japan. You don't do that. No, it's bros before hoes.
Yeah.
Bros before hoes, but this guy, Joe A.G., he's going like, yeah, I love this girl. I'm going to Japan. We're going to go to geisha shows and we're going to enjoy the samurai swords. And you're going, no, you have to go put your friends first. Yeah. You let a pussy get in the way of the 1,000-year Reich. Yeah. So basically, Joey G almost let a girl come in between the mission of racial purification.
Yes, that's what it is.
Can't have that in Guy Code.
Can't have that.
Can't have that in Guy Code.
That's not Guy Code. Yeah. And then what? And then, of course, as it all ends for Joseph Goebbels, you know, they go through the war. Hitler dies, and then he basically just cyanide poisons himself, his wife, and his kids.
Yeah, he killed his family.
Killed his whole family.
Yeah.
Just what is he did a little Chris Benoit. Yeah. Maybe he had CTE, Goebbels.
Yeah.
You don't know.
You don't know.
Did Goebbels have CTE is the question.
Maybe he had a parasite that was eating his brain that made him act weird.
That's it. Yeah, maybe Hitler just did all this because he had unchecked syphilis.
Yeah, what if these guys were just neurodivergent?
Yeah.
And they weren't getting the proper care.
Yeah.
He was the Reich Minister of Propaganda from 33 to 45, and he oversaw all film, theater, cabaret, and radio. And
he used radio as a weapon.
Yeah. So he was all into censorship and licensing. Performers had to be approved by the Reich Chamber of Culture. So unauthorized comics could work. You couldn't be a freelance.
Yeah.
You couldn't just be I'm working for myself.
No.
You
had to be authorized. You had to have a license to work for the Reich.
You had to be a state-sponsored comedian. And anti-Nazi jokes could be prosecuted. And this was called Weisserkirchener.
Right. So it's basically like you could do jokes, but they had to in some way ridicule Jews, communists, or foreign enemies. So I could do some of my bits about, you know, my wife and kids, but at just the end I would just have to call her fucking.
Basically, the only podcast that would be allowed right after Werner Germany would be the History Hyenas.
It's just what it is. They would look at us and say, "This is the guys. They know what they're doing.
We like this. We even like the HH. It's you know.
It's how.
By the way, it's a wild acronym to have for a podcast. HH with your face.
Yeah,
you're going. What's that HH?
Yeah, and I'd be safe, but they would always the Nazi high command would always probably come in just with a little burner and just say, "Can we just burn him? It doesn't look like this one looks good.
He's a fat Mexican. We have to get rid of him.
Yeah, man. Just start fucking light you up.
So,
before that, let's go take a break before we get into Werner Fink and the rest of Joseph Goebbels. And here's an ad probably from Avocado Mattress, you fucks.
Cuz I got a Lucy in my mouth right now. I'm a nicotine nice guy.
I've been calling you a Lucy Goosey because you love Lucy. Because you're a kid that you've told me, said, you know what one thing I love? Beyond, you said, I love the values of the United States of America, and I love 100% nicotine.
I do love it.
You told me that on the phone the other day. You said, I love 100% nicotine. You love always being tobacco-free, and you love those Lucy breakers with the nicotine pouches because you like what you like is an extra surprise.
I like a little explosion of flavor in my mouth, and that each pouch holds a capsule that can be broken. You just snap it with your teeth. That's what I do, and it releases extra flavor and hydration. What I like about Lucy is you just sign up, and they send it to you, so you don't go to the gas station.
Yeah,
because I get a jonesing at 3 a.m, and I hate when I see that I'm out. I like to plan and know that I need to be ahead.
Exactly, cuz, and it's like, you know, I love these Lucy nicotine pouches because, like you said, you got that extra surprise in the mouth, and it's like sometimes you can't just go down to a glory hole at 4 a.m.
Sometimes you can't.
But you can just crack open a Lucy.
You can crack open a Lucy. The flavors are great. I like espresso. It's like having coffee with my coffee. I have a coffee and then I have an espresso Lucy.
And then you sing a little Sabrina Carpenter. You go, that's me, espresso.
Espresso. And I triple up that way.
Yeah.
So what you got to do is right now go to lucy.co/hyenas. Use the promo code hyenas to get 20% off your first order. Lucy has a 30-day refund policy if you change your mind. Again, that's lucy.co and use the code hyenas to get 20% off. Here comes the fine print. Lucy products are only for adults of legal age, and every order is age verified. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. So your joke could be policed if it was quote unquote undermining military morale, which was sometimes punished by imprisonment or even death.
It's what it is.
So, I mean, you didn't want to bomb.
Yeah. They would not love going to see some comedy. The Germans, I don't think, would love the American comedians of today.
No, he'd have a tough time with that. And there was a few comedians that were pretty popular before the Nazis rose to power, and as they rose to power, that got taken off the air.
Yeah.
Can we call it taken off the air?
Yeah, you got taken off the air.
They got taken off the air, and by taken off the air, I mean later deported and murdered at Auschwitz, which in Germany they called taken off the air. So Kurt Geron, who was a popular cabaret comedian and actor, and he appeared, actually he was so popular, he appeared with Marlene Dietrich, who was a famous German actress. He appeared in the movie Blue Angel with her. He was banned from performing in 1933 because he was Jewish. Mm-hmm. And he was later deported and murdered in Auschwitz. Then you had Fritz Grunbaum. If you have the name Baum in your name,
yeah,
make a run for the border.
Yeah, it's what it is.
Yeah, I would have, if I was around, my act would have been like, if you have Baum or Blot, or Greenberg, if you have a Berg, a Blout, or a Baum, make a run for the border.
You're out of here.
You're out of here. So Fritz Grunbaum was a Viennese cabaret star. So he's from Vienna.
Love Vienna. Remember when we went to Vienna?
Cute.
Are we going to go back to Germany?
We're going to move there.
Cuz, do you seriously want to go back to Germany?
I loved Vienna.
Where
Mozart's from.
I want to go back to Germany and stay in the same hotel and do the same Oktoberfest and have the same exact trip. I just want to go back in time. I want to do over.
But this time we're going to do it just a little bit classier because we were just staying in the fireman's quarter.
Should we seriously next year, should we honestly seriously get our agents to just book us like just a couple of nights in Europe?
Yeah.
And just do like a live pod out there?
Freaking-lutely.
Let's do it.
Absolutely. So he was one of the wittiest Jewish comedians in between World War I and World War II. And in 1938, he was deported, and he died at Dachau. So they were sending him to different ones.
Yeah.
You know? They were lighting them up all. They were lighting them all up. One went to Auschwitz, another one went to Dachau. Then Paul Morgan, he was the co-founder of Cabaret de Comical in Berlin, which is cabaret and comics, whatever, comedy. And he was banned in 1933, so a little earlier. And he was deported to Buchenwald. And
that's another concentration camp, right?
Yeah.
Which one did we go to? Dachau.
We went to Dachau.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cute gift shop there.
There was a cute gift shop. Yeah, remember there was these European kids just on Snapchat.
Yeah.
And then they got yelled at by the tour guide.
Yeah, you don't really want to make content there.
Yeah, but people do.
And then Warner Fink.
This is the guy that you really want to talk about.
Warner Fink was an interesting guy. He wasn't Jewish. So that means you have a shot.
Right?
It means you have a shot. Shot at life.
Yeah.
But he was
just asking for a shot, coach.
Just asking for a shot, coach. Just put me in, coach.
Yeah.
We'll call him the Rudy.
Yeah.
He's the Rudy of comedians because we were rooting for him to get in the game and live.
Yeah, I just want to say my local high school varsity team played this weekend, and I went to the game and watched it. I was very close to the coaches on the sidelines, and I heard there was a big tackle on one of them, and then I heard one of the players say, "Yeah, I bet you felt that in your do-rag." So I mean, it's kind of racist, but I mean, it was just because his do-rag was coming out of his helmet, but it got a laugh from the whites and the blacks on the side.
Right.
Yeah.
So Warner Fink, he was, and also his style, Warner Fink.
What was his style?
He was so subtle, you couldn't really pin anti-Nazi jokes on him.
So he was a good comedian.
He was really good.
Threading the needle.
So he would do these subtle anti-Nazi jokes. But in 1935, Goebbels shut his cabaret down. And here's the thing about him. He was very popular.
Right.
So he was interesting because he was this kind of tightrope walk comedian. He couldn't pin down. He would make a lot of his punchlines were in the pauses. So he would say things and then the audience. So Goebbels thought he was very dangerous because he figured out a way to say it without saying it.
I see what you mean, that's where most of the danger lies.
Yeah, and he was very popular. People liked him.
Right.
So Goebbels was like, how do I handle this guy? He's like, I don't want to make a martyr out of him because of his popularity. So how do I handle this guy? So he was arrested and sent to a concentration camp. So they tried to go with the old formula.
Yeah.
They went with network TV.
Right.
And they're like, we're just going to throw him in a concentration camp and throw him in the oven. But then the people were like, oh, we like this guy. And so Goebbels was like, I don't want to make a martyr out of him. So they released him and they kept him under surveillance.
Okay.
So, and then he was actually forced to go and be part of like the entertainment for the troops. So he actually survived by going and doing like, telling jokes to the troops. And I think he bent a little bit and he did what he had to do because the kid lived throughout after the war. And then right after the war, he went right back to anti-Nazi jokes. So he's a guy people should know about. Yeah. He's kind of like a comedic hero. His name was Werner Fink.
Right. And where did the kid die? Did he wind up getting
I think he died of old age after that. There was a couple other ones like Karl Valentin, who was a Bavarian comic. He wasn't formally banned, but his absurdist, pessimistic humor clashed with Nazi ideals of healthy German optimism. So they just liked it. They didn't like the kid they just thought the kid was negative.
So what we're saying is, too, that's why we did this episode, is to say, like, the stuff that happened last week with Jimmy, it happened in Nazi Germany, and you think that it's so different but it's really not that different.
No, history repeats itself.
It just repeats itself. It's like, maybe this whole thing, obviously this is not going to lead to an Auschwitz situation, you hope, but it's like, this is the beginning. Like it also could be because here's another thing too that I was doing some research on, and maybe this is a topic for another day. But like if you look back at most civil wars, right, including our own United States Civil War in the 1600s in England, the last time they had a civil war. England is very close to a civil war now with what's going on in London and all that. But there's no starting point and ending point of a civil war typically. It kind of just starts to begin and you don't even realize you're in it. So you kind of feel like here, you worry about what's happening here now, even with what's actually positive for me is seeing with all this Jimmy Kimmel stuff, even though I know it's entertainment, so it's like it's not that serious, but is that people care. You don't have like this apathy. People are really caring about, hey, you can't do that. That's a good sign, because the moment it becomes like, oh, I don't give a shit, I just hate that side and fuck them, whatever happens to them, I'm done. Now you're getting pretty close to a civil war and you don't even realize that you're past the tipping point. Because I found that interesting when I was like, oh, nobody ever knows when a civil war begins. It's just, you can look back and say this was the first battle, but it was really started like 10 years ago.
I also think it's a decent sign that you're seeing people on the right and left.
Yes.
Going, hey, what I don't like about this is that the FCC is putting pressure on ABC. Right. And what is it, Nexstar? What are they called?
Yeah.
Nexstar
is the one
big merger.
The local channels. Yeah.
And they got a merger coming up that they
with Skydance and Larry Ellison.
Yeah, and they going, are you bending to the FCC? So the FCC approves that merger. So people are from both walks of the aisle, both sides of the aisle, are a little a little uncomfortable with that. And I think that's a good sign. It's a unifying thing.
That's a unifying thing.
Also, I got to say, we have a problem with gun violence in this country, but when you have a population that's strapped, it's very hard for a totalitarian state to rise.
Right.
It's just hard.
Right.
I mean, one of the first things you do is you take away, I mean, that's what the Nazis did. They did take away the guns.
Right.
And say, hey, you can't have those.
Right.
You can't fight back. So we are strapped.
We got guns.
People are strapped.
Even I got myself a gat.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, it's tough. But also we have, we've been free for a while.
Right.
So you just, people are turning on Trump on the right a little bit, and Trump, I think, is nervous of that as well. Right. And so he's got to change his strategy here and there. Yeah. You can see him. He's like, can I get away with this? And he's like, oh, my own people are not like, so hopefully it holds.
We've been at peace for too long. And Viktor Frankl said in Man's Search for Meaning that's the scariest part of our generation. And he wrote that in I think it was the 90s. He said it. this generation's been at peace for too long, so you're going to start to beg for war, and then when war comes, you're going to beg for peace, and it'll be too late. You do not want to live through war.
You do not want to do that.
You don't want to do that.
Don't want to do that.
And if you do find yourself in war and you just want a little laughs, and you go to patreon.com/historyhyenas, we have a lot of good content there. And you can just be off the rails. If a civil war does break out and you're trying to reminisce about the good old days, then you go to patreon.com/historyhyenas, because we're speaking over there as if it was the 90s. We just don't care. There's no censor. We're just like Howard Stern trying to get fined by the FCC.
That's right.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah, just,
fucking communist cucks.
Yeah, tune out to tune in, baby. That's our motto.
Yeah.
That's our motto. That's our Minister of Propaganda approved motto. Tune out from everything else and just tune in to free-spirited comedy. We're like a free-spirited cabaret in Berlin in 1928, man.
Yeah.
Everything goes. Trans, Nazis, whatever you want to talk about, just let your conscience free and just have a little giggle at this cosmic guffaw.
Yeah.
It's a cosmic guffaw.
Yeah, just giggle it.
Just a little bit. You want to giggle it. Just a little bit.
That's how I'm going to open my show in Saudi Arabia. Giggle it. Just a little bit.
So Warner Fink, he reinvented himself.
How?
After his release from a concentration camp. He perfected this style of like illusion and evasion.
Okay.
So he leaned on pauses, unfinished sentences, and raised his eyebrows to let audiences fill in the blank.
He still did comedy in Germany after the concentration camp? I mean, the kid is wild.
He's wild, yeah. So his cabaret was banned, but he still found opportunities in theaters and small-scale performances. And he was tolerated because audiences really liked him, like I said. And Goebbels knew that, hey, I can't kill this guy. I just have to neutralize him.
Because he was too popular.
Yeah, so what he did was he goes, during the war, Goebbels goes, all right, he forces him, he drafts him into the army, and he placed him at what they call the propaganda entertainment troop. Brigade or whatever, and they
were hoping he got killed in battle, right?
No, well, he had to entertain the troops,
right?
So he couldn't perform freely, like in Berlin or whatever. But they saw his value in keeping the morale up, and so the regime, because he was popular, could say, "Hey, see, even Fink is serving the motherland." They wanted to use him. It's interesting because it shows you the power of comedy. Like the guy was so funny and so masterful at his craft that people liked him.
Right.
So, and he was subtly, how sometimes comedy can be like a sugar-coated medicine,
Right.
We're telling you the truth, but we're giving it to you like a Skittle. So it disarms you.
Right.
So the guy was brilliant at that.
Right.
And he was so brilliant at it that Goebbels knew, like, this guy's a threat.
Right.
But I can't kill him because the people like him.
Yeah.
Because he's so masterful at doing it this way. So he kind of portrayed himself as this sort of clueless clown with the way he delivered.
Right.
But Goebbels saw, like, this motherfucker's a scoundrel.
Yeah.
He's a scoundrel.
Scoundrel's a good word.
So, and it's an optimistic thing because he outlasted the regime.
Yeah. And he kind of looks like Larry David.
Yeah. He kept his head down, stayed alive, and he reemerged after the war.
And he died in 1978.
Yeah. And
Yannis was already 2 years old.
Yeah. He became a symbol of subtle resistance, and he was the comic who kind of outwitted Goebbels with wordplay.
See?
Yeah.
He wiggled out.
And as like I said, as soon as the war was over, he went right back to...
So Jimmy Kimmel is our Werner Fink.
If you possibly got a show in development with him, why not? Why not?
Yeah.
I think he's a comedic genius.
Absolutely.
I loved his work on a bad show.
Yeah, you better say it, you see. Because you're an SS.
My favorite bit that he did is when he walked up to women outside. He said, "Will you sleep with me?
Yeah.
Will you have sex with me?"
Yeah.
That was a good one.
That was a good bit.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Now, of course, here's the thing. We want to tie it all into what's going on. Who knows by the time this episode comes out? By the time this episode comes out, there'll be 3 questions to answer. Did Jimmy Kimmel get his show back? Did Jimmy Kimmel get fired? And is Chris in Saudi Arabia? Those are the 3 questions you're going to have to ask yourself.
We're going to have to ask,
We're going to have to ask yourself that. So,
and people right now, I don't know how many weeks this will go on. You may be watching this back because this is a fun episode. So you may be watching this in a year, 2 years. We'll know how this plays out. But right now, people are either very outraged about Jimmy Kimmel being off the air, or very outraged that a guy got his head blown off.
Yeah,
and those seem to be that outrage seems to fall along party lines as well.
It's just what it is.
It's just where we've come. We've kind of, there's no humanity in it anymore. It's just kind of like, can I make content about this?
Right. And then, as always, I've already taken a peek at the list. You're going to want to stick around and listen to this list because there's a couple of 10 out of 10s, and we're starting off with an absolute banger. Patreon.com/historyhyenas. Like I said, where the fun happens, we read out your name when you join the matriarch, and it's fun. And if you make a really funny name, then you can win. At the end of the show, we pick the winner, and it's also where we have a lot of great content and where you could just feel like a man again, or feel like a woman again, or feel like a trans person again. You could just be who you want to be. And we're going to start off the list with a very maybe what do we call
LeBron James?
A LeBron James, where you are the number one name read, and we'll see if you can hold up. So
see if you can live up to the hype.
So the first name coming out of the gate is
coming out of high school early.
Coming out of the gate, patreon.com/historyhyenas is whenever Schultz receives a call from Akash, the caller ID says scam likely.
You know where to put them.
Yeah, on the list.
Catapult them.
Yep, and that's a good one. And then we got Chrissy the cute dude crapped open my poop chute back in Houston, SOKS, okay? And then we got Anne Frank's Fumigation Services, LLC.
Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to get security, and we're going to walk that person out of the store.
Yeah, they're out of here. That's a walked into one.
Yeah.
Then we got one from my family, Arroz con pollo.
Arroz con pollo.
Yeah.
It's a good dish.
Then we got Philip, Sation Schlevassen, Jake. Then we got working harder than Donnie T's compression socks.
That's the list. That's the list.
And then we got Elliot Page's enlarged clitoris.
That's the list.
So, okay.
Wow.
So I told you to stick around.
Chicken finger on the list.
Aaron Kluk Barney, Chris Black, Captain Winky's hemorrhoid.
That's a chicken figure.
Ryan Holke, Philip, Nicholas Zabrinsky, JFK shot first. It was self-defense. Okay,
just a laugh there.
Yeah,
that's a Drexler. That's a Drexler.
Unexplained boner. Then we got
Unexplained boner is
interesting.
That is a perfect chicken finger.
Yeah,
short, sweet, and then you have to imply meaning to that.
And it's just it's an American delicacy.
Yeah.
Then we got.
You know what? I like that so much. I'm putting it on the list.
All right, unexplained boner
is very funny.
The list. Yeah,
I like it.
Then we got Gluey CK says, "Don't look away from the spray."
Put them on the list.
Because Gluey CK in itself would have been fun.
And then don't look away from the spray. He's making somebody watch them.
I mean, this might be, we have 5 on the list already where we've read like 20 names.
Because they're evolving, they're getting better. It's almost like watching when you started watching our show, it was like the NBA in the 50s. And now they're dunking.
Yeah. Hank Marlborough. Then we got I Wish My Wife Had Brazilian Butt Tits. Jacob Evan, I don't believe it was 6 million Bernstein. Okay. You're walking into one. Call Ice. Chrissy just walked into Juan again. Okay.
Good one. Wordplay.
Yep. Jamie Lee Curtis's cleavage.
She does have nice.
She does have nice rack.
Yeah.
Tyler Wendell, Zach Johnson, Andrew, FZ Part 2.
Can I just take a moment to just acknowledge how funny it is? You know, when someone joins Patreon, this is their name. So if they join another Patreon page, they join as Jamie Lee Curtis's cleavage.
Yeah, which is what it is.
Or unexplained boner.
This is their name.
I mean, this is their name.
And some people have done is they've left another Patreon to come to us just so they can remake a funny name.
Yeah.
That's what they do. So then we got Matthew Brown. Then we got If Napoleon Had a Fatty, Chrissy D would have blown apart. Okay, like blown apart. Nice wordplay.
Really nice wordplay. Drexler for that.
Michael Taylor, Baby's First Freak Off. Arab Smith, a 9/11 tribute band. Oh, Arab Smith, like Aerosmith, Arab Smith.
Very funny.
Christian Toscano, Jake Goodall, Ashkenazi's Frisbees, Golf Dogs Podcast. Okay, maybe screwed in Golf Dogs Podcast. I guess go check that out.
I don't think there's a company called Ashkenazi's Frisbees.
But Golf Dogs Podcast might be a real podcast.
Yeah.
Then we got Cowboy with German Views, Call Me Kanye Western.
On the list.
Okay.
On the list. This is a chicken figure Olympics right here. Yeah.
William Stoddard III, or what race he is.
Yeah.
Ryan Arbalolo, Colleen Jr.'s Coffee Leroy, Iraq Vet 2005, Weapons of Ass Destruction. Okay.
Frank's kid's got a nice piece.
Yeah.
Calling your dick a weapon of ass destruction is very funny. Drexler.
Franks and Beans on the Beam, Brian Winchell, Frank Novak, Frisbee Transportation Logistics. Okay, so that guy's got a company.
That's a walked in one.
That's a walked in one. Not okay.
It's a tricky walked in.
Not okay.
We don't support that. It's not okay.
Shivam, Magdalena Wojbowski, Natal Kola, Hervker, Rebecca Fonseca, Neil Quinn, Ben Babin, Fumari Stoudemire's bedsheet hole.
514.
Because Amari Stoudemire is a Jew.
He's a Jew. You gotta put that on the list.
He's converted. If you don't know, Amari Stoudemire, basketball player on the Knicks, is a 6'10" black guy. Is fully a full
Hasidic
converted
Jew.
Hasidic Jew. And now we've called Fumari Stoudemire like fumes. And then bedsheet hole. It's
He's
nice.
fucking through a cheat.
Chrissy's financial mistakes. Jake Calvin. Then we got Abdullah Glue from Where I Poo Fistula. Going out for Chinese means going to the massage parlor and sucking little Asian toes. Okay.
I love that. That's his screen name.
He's saying I'm going out for Chinese. But if he tells his wife I'm going out for Chinese, that's what he's doing.
Yeah. What do we do with that one? That's a Drexler.
Drexler. Okay.
It's just such a strong list.
Yeah.
Any other day.
Then we got Michael. Then we got douching my shitty for Schmitty, and that's a boof Bader Ginsburg hashtag for the firehouse.
It's a good one.
It's a good one. He's boofing it.
Yeah.
Abdullah Lincoln, emancipation fumigation. Name may be David, but make no mistake, cuzzy, I got no frisbee. Okay, Sean Groundwater, Max Lemaire, Chrissy Wissy gone pissy wissy on my sister's wissy. Okay.
Okay.
Meet George Jetson, his boy Leroy.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. George, his boy Leroy.
Yeah. Beaner, who because of Sidney Sweeney's fat tits. Okay.
Okay.
Ari Shafir's bloody a-hole for the table. Austrian frisbee muncher. Darth Bader Ginsburg and the Empire Strikes Back 2028. Tadium Erickson, John Graham, Trevor Hinch, Bills Peen, Trev Dog, Kathleen, Pancake 64, Michael Swank, Ty 1252, Corporophilic 10 Titties, Brant Wilson.
Filling them titties. Filling them titties.
Filling them titties. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Franks and Beans, Chef Big Balls Little Wee, the eclectic epileptic, James Anderson, Ryan Gonzalez, Charles M. Esther. The M stands for Mel. Oh, Charles Molester.
Got it.
I got it. And then last but not least, selling my glizzy till I hit a milli for that Tim Dilly epi. Okay.
Right.
All right.
We do have another Tim Dilly epi up there, right?
Yeah.
Should I go a couple of more?
How funny is that? We did another episode with him we couldn't air.
Yep.
So should I do more? You think that's good for the list
I think
for
that's
today?
a good one.
Okay. All right. So here we got the list today. So
Got some strong candidates.
all right. So we got. I'm going to read.
Unlike a presidential election.
Yeah. So we got Fumari Stoudemire's bedsheet hole. Then we got whenever Schultz receives a call from Akash, the caller ID says scam likely. Working harder than Donnie T's compression socks. Elliot Page's enlarged clitoris. Unexplained boner. Gluey CK says don't look away from the spray. Cowboy with old German views. Call me a Kanye Western.
Yeah.
So
Okay, goodies.
So what are we thinking?
Okay, let's start again. First one.
Fumari Stoudemire's bedsheet hole.
Amazing, but we're going to Drexler it
Out.
any other day.
All right.
Unfortunately.
What can you do?
What can you do?
Whenever Schultz receives a call from Akash, the caller ID says scam like
That's sticking around. We may have a LeBron James on our hands.
All right, because that is the very first one we read out, and I don't know that that's ever won.
This kid might become one of the greats.
Working harder than Donnie T's compression socks.
We're going to chicken finger that one.
Okay. Elliot Page's enlarged clitoris.
We're going to keep that one around.
Okay. Unexplained boner.
We're going to chicken finger it.
Yes. Okay. Gluey CK says don't look away from the spray.
We're going to keep that one around.
Yep, because Gluey CK in and of itself is a 10.
Yes.
Cowboy with old German views. Call me Kanye Western.
That's a good one. We're going to Drexler it. You were a great player. You just happen to be in the wrong era.
So then the big three is we have Gluey CK says don't look away from the spray, Elliot Page's enlarged clitoris, or whenever Schultz receives a call from Akash, the caller ID says scam likely.
We got this is what you call the Olympics.
Yeah,
'Cause
this
we
is a
got a
big one.
gold, we got a silver, and we got a bronze, but
We do.
everyone's getting a medal on this one.
Okay.
Everyone's
Fair
getting
enough.
a medal. Everyone's
Fair
getting a
enough. So
medal.
they're all up to the podium now.
Everyone's
How
at the podium.
Who's okay, so where do we go? Who's third place? Tell us third place.
One.
Who's three?
I'm leaning towards Elliot Page's enlarged clitoris.
As the third place bronze
As
medalist.
third place bronze
Okay.
medal. What do you guys think?
Yeah. What was the other one? There was Louis C.K. to me is the gold.
Right. And
That's
the other one
gold.
was Akash Singh.
And
Yes.
So if we've put Elliot Page's enlarged clitoris in third place as the bronze,
that's
then
the bronze.
That's the appropriate call.
So
right?
then who is second place?
Yeah.
Louis
Who's
C.K.
silver?
says don't look away from the spray, or whenever Schultz receives a call from Akash, the caller ID says scam likely.
all right. I'm the U.S. judge. I'm giving it to Louis C.K. He gets the gold in my vote.
And Akash gets the silver.
Gets the silver. Yeah.
Nick, what do you think between those two?
I like Gluey, but
Gluey as number one getting the gold. Is that your vote?
yeah.
Yeah, we got two.
Okay, because I'm going to put my vote as whenever Schultz receives a call from Akash, the caller ID says scam likely as the gold,
Whoa.
and Gluey as the silver.
Whoa.
So now you can.
I'm the deciding
you
vote.
are the Greek judge.
Whoa.
And and this is fitting because you invented the Olympics.
Yeah.
Well, no, if he goes with Akash, then we got to get a tiebreaker.
Then we got to get a
Yeah,
tie,
we
but
got
if
a
he goes with Gluey, then they win.
win.
Then he wins the gold.
We'll get Pat in here.
Just read them. Let me just feel them both.
So I'm going to read them both, and I'm going to read them both without laughing or
Serious.
giving it away.
Serious.
And I'm
Yeah.
going to give 2 seconds of pause after each one.
Yeah.
Just so we have some time.
Wait,
So-
because you got to read it right.
right.
Because it's like when you order a coffee, you say, "Can I get a cappuccino with oat milk?" You can't say it masculine like, or they won't make it right.
Right.
You can't go, "Let me get a cappuccino with oat milk." You have to say, "Can I have a cappuccino with oat milk?"
Yeah.
So
yeah.
just read them the right way.
Read them the right way. Okay. Gluey CK says, "Don't look away from the spray." Whenever Schultz receives a call from Akash, the caller ID says scam likely.
It's going to Gluey CK. It's going to
CK
Gluey
is the
CK.
winner.
And you read them good.
I read him good.
Yeah, it's going
All
to
right.
Gluey CK.
You know, whenever Schultz receives a call from Akash, the call ID says scam likely. You're the silver medalist. You were so close to bringing the one and only LeBron James we ever had, and that's why it's so difficult to do. You were the first one out of the gate. You got very, very farther than any other number one pick. But
You're more of a Jermaine O'Neal. You had a good career, but you didn't live up completely to the hype.
But the winner is at patreon.com/historyhyenas. You can see your name up in lights at historyhyenaspod.com. You are the PPW, the pseudo opinions of the week. Gluey CK says, "Don't look away from the spray."
Yeah, I mean, he's the funniest comedian, and that's the funniest joke.
It's just what it is. That's why you listen. Thank you, and suck it, FCC.